Your host, Rob.
How you doing, man?
Yes, bro. Thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure to come down.
You have interviewed some big names. I saw one with Mario.
Oh, my mate Mario, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, your mate Mario.
No. I like to just mess about with
Okay,
that.
I saw one with Harvey.
Nah, he's actually my mate. I'll give you that.
Yeah. These interviews are really, really good. And I saw, I don't think it wasn't Usher, no? It was another R&B back in the day singer. American. I can't remember now. But you've interviewed some big names. Like, what's that been like?
It's been over a period of time. And it's also to do with opportunities, but opportunities come to those who create them. So I've spent a lot of time in radio, but when I was in radio, I started to branch out a lot and do a lot of like red carpet press, for example.
Off your own back, or you were sent out to?
Off my own back. I don't really. Well, I need to make things happen for myself because especially when you're starting out, you know, it's like when you come out of uni, they won't give you a job without experience, but you need experience to get the job kind of touch. So you just have to. We live in a world now where you can go out and create your experience.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I just used the platforms that I had and the resources I had, and just kind of made that happen.
So if I was to ask you, you know, who are you? What do you do? What's your answer to that?
At the moment, I'd say I'm a presenter, broadcaster, content creator. I'm going into a bit of a different space now. I've focused a lot more on social media and the growth of social media in that kind of way and understanding the platforms a bit better. I was at an awkward stage recently because I was off radio because I went to go live in another country, and I was kind of getting fed up with that radio anyway. So when I came back, I wasn't sure about if I still wanted to be on radio. That was a big thing for me.
Okay. I've seen on your Insta you do like a lot of DJing. What is that? Like, are you breaking in new music? Are you like what
On the
is
show?
that?
So,
Yeah.
so the show is the best of British shows. So for years on all the radio platforms, this is like my brand, which is just playing UK music, underground music,
Sick.
Artists, well-known artists, and then obviously some of the people you've mentioned there, interviewing people like that, and that's come from my show because when I first started, I used to host music events, music open mic nights, etc. And I used to get a big demand for people saying, oh, I want to get my music played, or how do I get into radio? And I kind of got an opportunity there. And I was just sort of trained from scratch from a platform called Radio King Online. And they were like the start of my growth into radio, I'd say.
Rewinding back to childhood, talk to us about what life was like.
So it's me, and I got 5 sisters, and it's my mum, my dad.
Are your parents still together?
Yeah, so they've been together since they met when they were 15.
Yeah.
And they've been together ever since. They've been married for 35 years.
Who's black and who's white?
My dad's black, my mum's white.
Okay, cool.
So I'd say this, and I say this to everyone, I'd be a completely different person if my dad wasn't there. He's, you know, the person I look up to. He's my hero. You know, everyone has flaws and all that, but he's definitely my hero. He's the man I look up to. And I think my mum is always aware of how important that relationship is. When I was younger, she always liked to make sure that I was doing stuff with him, or that I could go to him, or he was available to speak. He used to work a lot, like a lot, like 19 hours a day, maybe. So, but he was always there when I needed him. Like if I needed to speak to him, he was always there. So, and because when we were younger, me and my 2 older sisters, we went to private school. And so I went to private school from when I was 4 to when I was 16. So obviously that's, you know, financially quite heavy. You know, when you get older and you become an adult and sort of your own man, you understand more of that. Because when you're young, you're just like, okay, well, like, it's expensive. Why would you send me here if it's difficult to send me here? But looking back at it, especially like now I'm a father, I would say that if we look at the statistics about how black and mixed race boys are 5 times more likely to get kicked out of school, and then you get kicked out of school and you get put into the system, and you know, the system eventually leads to, you know, trouble or jail or whatever. I understand why he did it. It was an all boys school. From like a education point of view, I'd say it was very valuable because you don't feel you in classes now they have like 35 kids in one class. There they had like 15 or something.
Yeah.
It makes a difference, definitely. Like it fully makes a difference. And because if you're struggling, they have to support you. You know, they have to give you the support because, you know, they're paying fees. You have to, right?
And they can give you the support.
Yeah, they can give you the support, but the kids who went there, their parents are like barristers and stuff, and you know, not respected careers, but like high level careers.
Yeah.
So that was reflected, and me, I was one of maybe 4 black kids in the whole year. At the time, we had maybe 15, 30, 40 kids in the year, 50 kids in the year, and maybe like me, 3 other black guys, maybe another mixed race guy. So with the other kids in the classes, they definitely had because of their background, they had more advantages or different ways of looking at things. So for me, even to this day, it's one of my flaws, I would say. I get very frustrated if I can't do something straight away. Because if you're brought up in a education system where everyone just gets it like that, people are very switched on and you feel like you're being left behind, so you get frustrated. Right. That happens literally to this to this day. This happens to me. So, but I'm very aware of the fact of like, okay, cool, like maybe I expect too much of myself.
Did you grow up in East London?
No, my dad's actually from East London.
From East London?
But we lived in West.
Oh, okay, you lived in West. West, yeah. The private school was probably in West as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's safe to say you didn't grow up in a gang or anything like that?
No. I don't know, that stuff never really, it was just never in my environment. Obviously, the school probably helped, but because my dad worked a lot and my mum eventually stopped working, she was like really on it. She was like proper running the house, knowing where we are, what we're doing, who our friends were, and that plays a massive, massive part. And I think when I go on all these like relationship podcasts and they talk about, I want to be a stay-at-home housewife, and it's like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's not to be sniffed at. It's actually a key part in making things run. And I think the reason why my parents work so well is because they have a system and they work as a team. Yeah. You know, and even my dad grew up, he didn't grow up in a gang, but he grew up, you know, in East London and in however, I can't even remember the years, but yeah, so things were definitely different, and he was kind of left to his own devices as well. Yeah. So I think just from his perspective, he never wanted his children to be in an environment where, you know, they were just out there, however you want to say that.
The way you talk about your dad, your parents, and now you're married, right?
Yeah.
You're married and you've got a son, yeah. How old is he?
He's 8 weeks.
Oh man, congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats. How do you kind of plan or intend to father him? Like what do you think you've taken that you're looking to pass on from your parents?
He's, you know, having a son, to be honest, to date is the biggest achievement of my life. Yeah. I would just take what my dad has taught me, what I've learned of the world, and just fine tune it. I think my wife is very respectful of how important this is to me, of having a son, and you know, obviously someone growing up with all women, and on top of that, generationally, this is it, because it was supposed to stop with me throughout the whole generation of my surname, because of my auntie has boys, but obviously she's married to someone else, different surname, etc. Right. So she had like 6 boys, but they're all her husband's children. Wow. Do you know what I mean? So the whole thing would have just stopped. So it's like that as well. So it's like my dad's response to it is just been like so good, man. Like he's just like, you know, Robert and the baby and baby. Well, he just calls him baby. It's baby Robert. It's not even his name, but he just calls him baby Robert. But yeah, no, I would just. I think what's good is she's been like super respectful of the fact of like, I have these lessons and I want to teach my son X, Y, and Z. And I know how important, I speak about all the time, the importance of fatherhood. I know men who haven't grown up without fathers, and I know men who have grown up with fathers, and there's a remarkable difference. And I think at the minute, we live in a world where they act like fathers aren't important and it's completely irrelevant. It's that we glorify single mums. We glorify I can do it by myself. Just because you can, it doesn't mean that you should. And even if you look at the statistics, for example, 80% of men in jail are from single mother households.
Yep.
That's an overwhelmingly percent.
Yep.
And then when you look at behavioural issues, dropping out of school, teen pregnancy, gangs, violence, etc., all of this is dramatically decreased with having a father in the home.
Yeah.
And I think everyone just kind of forgets all of that because selfishly it's like, well, no one wants to take any criticism. If I'm his mother, so I know what's best, and it's no, you don't, because the way men, fathers and women and mothers show love is very different. And I think, even though I see it a little bit myself now, that she might think that the problem, I would say the problem that you have in this dynamic is the fact that the mum shows love one way and has a connection with her baby one way, and she wants that to be just the same with the father, but the father has a different relationship with the son, daughter, etc., and their love is shown differently.
Yep.
You know, and I think they want it to be like theirs, but we're not the same. So that, and I think sometimes it can be used against men to say, okay, well, he doesn't show love like this, how I show love, therefore he's not capable, which is obviously just not the case. I don't think anyone would choose to. I don't think anyone would choose to be out of their son's or daughter's life. I don't think they would actually choose that. I think the difference comes from what I've just mentioned, and also the fact that dealing with the mother, whatever circumstance that might be, ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, etc., is so draining that that's what's driving them away. But no one ever says, oh, they never think why he isn't present. They just presume he's not ready to be a father, or he's not this, he's not that, thinking it's got nothing to do with the other person he's had the child with. So,
do you plan or intend or hope to send your son or any other kids you have to private school as well?
It's a thought which at the minute I'm not in a position to do so, but obviously he's young. But if it was an option, I would like to.
Okay.
But I have spoken to teachers who are friends of mine, and they have worked in both state and private schools, and they say the biggest influencer in both situations is the parents. So you can have a good, competent, intelligent child in state schools if the parents know what's going on and they're involved and they want their child to do well. The same in private school. Obviously, the only difference is the resources and the money.
What do you think about home parenting?
Homeschooling?
Homeschooling, yeah, sorry. Home parenting.
I remember someone speaking to me about it before, and I thought, oh, that's weird. But more and more as I see what's happening in schools, education, and society in general, I think it can be quite beneficial. The argument is always that, oh, but they won't get to play with other kids and build their skills that way. But that's rubbish, because there's so many activities that they can do with other children and build friends in loads of different circles. I don't think that's really viable enough. It's just that if you've got the time, obviously the ideal thing would be if you could, the mother or the father, whoever it may be, could be at home with the kids, teaching the kids, because there's a lot of influence in the education system now, which I don't really agree with.
Aren't you also more likely to make friends in high places if you went to private school with them than the types of friends you would
agree.
make if you went to normal?
A lot of it is to do with connections. I know guys now who are like working in the House of Commons.
Who you know, not what you know.
A friend of mine who's a teacher, he was teaching at a private school, and he was saying that the kids' dad used to be like the manager for the Rolling Stones or the Beatles, something, just crazy stuff like that. And it's just, and I always say, and I've learned this more recently, that life isn't really about, black and white and our differences there. It's about money, or class more specifically. That's all it's ever about. It's only about class. So all these, it's not about man, woman. It's not about any other genders. It's not about, like I say, black, white. It's about money and class. That's the key thing.
Okay, getting into a slightly trickier topic now, your marriage. So how long did you date your wife for? How long were you together before you got married?
Maybe like around, was it 2016? So maybe like around before we got married, before we got engaged.
Before you got engaged.
So it was about 2 years.
2 years. And then you were engaged for how long?
We were engaged for about 2 years as well, 2.5. So we
Okay.
got married in 2021. But obviously like COVID and stuff.
So about 4.5 years together before the marriage.
That's right, yeah.
How did you know she was the one? That's to for a man in these times to put a ring on a girl's finger. Whew, that is huge. So how did you know she was the one?
There's a lot of things which it's funny that people will think it's something else, but I would say that most things are that she was kind, she was understanding, she was supportive, and she was beautiful. And that's the summary, really. She comes from like a traditional family that understands how things are supposed to work, in my opinion. And when I met her, I was working a lot because I was working towards a goal of something. And so I'd work like 7 days a week for 2 years. That's it, like constantly. So this is when I was dating her, so she needed to, I said, you know, you need to understand this is the focus, so this is the only focus, so we can go here a little bit and do that or whatever, but we're not going to the Shard anytime soon or whatever, you know, so just be, you know, these are the expectations.
Okay.
And she was respectful.
I already know why you put her, you've already answered my question, like, because to meet a girl and you say, we can't do this or that for a while, it's going to be this for a while, most of the time, they're going to walk away.
But it's the ambition as well. It's the ambition and the purpose is attractive in them. You got to, from a woman's perspective to looking at a man, she thinks that, okay, this is a guy on a mission or a purpose who can't be swayed, so he's not really going to be running hoes or all over the place as well. True. You know, he's going to be focused on something as well, and that is an attractiveness. And it also provides security. However my life has been prior to her and during her, it will automatically affect her positively, you know? And I think the disconnect comes from, if it was reversed, a successful woman is not changing a man's life, but a successful man can change a woman's life. And that's all it is. It's not sexist, it's just factually. Because really, if you have a successful woman who makes a lot of money, she wants her equal or higher, right? And her money's still gonna be her money, because her man's not gonna feel right taking it all the time, and she doesn't really wanna give it all the time. So, but if it's the other way around, it's for the good of the family.
We work for that. Like we're working so that we can give you and do for you, whereas women work to look after themselves.
Yeah, well, it's like
which is cool.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm an ally, you know. I'm a feminist. So, so yeah, like my ultimate situation would be to work maybe in Dubai, take her with me, obviously my family. It's weird saying my family now as opposed to
so you have a family now.
Yeah, so it's funny because it's funny. My mum is talking to my son, and she's like, "Oh, your daddy," and I'm like, "Oh, me? Oh, yeah." 'Cause I'm so used to her saying that about my dad, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm now a dad." It's mad. So my ultimate thing would be take my wife, my family, her mum, and go live in Dubai and have them not work and me just work, and they be around my kids, because her mum is one of the most wonderful people I've met, to be honest. She's really understanding. She, like I said, she's traditional, so she understands the dynamics of marriage and how important, how to and I've seen it myself growing up. So my mum, obviously, we have a lot of girls, so there's conversations that they have to have which are like woman to woman, and part of those conversations are, you need to understand men, and men don't think like you. Men think about this and this. You shouldn't say this because this is how men are gonna think, or they're ego driven. You got to just be a bit, play the game a bit, understand it a bit more, and it will benefit you. And it has like all my sisters, they're all one of them's divorced, to be fair, but the other one's engaged. Another one of them's engaged. So it's like they understand, and because they've watched how my mum treats my dad, they understand how to.
Good. They've seen a good role model. You're lucky. Speaking about money, what's your money management like as a family man now? You know, a man who has his own immediate family. Like, and also, what advice would you give to you know, new fathers who have a family to provide for and stuff?
What I would say is if you can get a head start on it before you become a father, that's super important.
Okay.
So if you can create wealth before you start about even having a long-term girlfriend, that's what I would focus on. I think a lot of guys now are so obsessed with just like, oh, I just want to get a girl, or I just want to get, you know, and spend all my time with her. But in fact, what if you do is, if you're disciplined and you build something first, because now, you know, we know some marriages end in divorce, everything like that. You want to be in a position where you can bounce back quicker, and it's easier to do that. It's like, I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and I was saying, he was young, the guy was 21, and I said to him, look, the worst thing you can do now is get someone pregnant, because you're going to be playing catch up for another 10 years, and it'll ruin your best years, when what you should do is just focus on yourself, commit to your work, your purpose, your finances, and that should be the only thing important to you. They're never going to stop making women. I say this to every man ever. They're never going to stop making women. Now they're creating new women, but it's a different conversation. But you see what I mean. So so in regards to finances, I'll just think more like in regards to jobs I take, work I take, how much free time I have in relation to that, and also just planning for the future. So making decisions. It's good now because he's so young. So whatever I do now, he'll feel the impact a couple of years later. So it might take me a few years to get to a certain stage, but he'll face it when it's important, when he's going to school or nursery or whatever.
Are you scared
Of what?
of like raising another human being? And as a man though, not as a woman, but as a man and his father, you're going through life and you're responsible as a man for this human life, male, that's looking up to you. Is there any fear there for you?
I think it's keeping the example strong. So there's things I can do within my control to put a good example ahead of for him. I think, to answer the question, I think I'm scared. I'm cautious maybe, but it's how I think about things with him now is how to keep him away from everything that's happening in the world and how he's to deal with it and build a strong mind. I know people don't really like the Tate guy, but him and the brother were raised with a strong mind and and their life reflects that. And
Andrew Tate and his brother,
so that, I think that plays a massive part of it. And I don't think, it's funny actually, I had a conversation with my wife a while ago, and I was saying about, oh, you know, single fathers do better. So if we break up, I'm still going to get tings. I'm still going to get tings, and I can raise my son and da-da-da. They say, I think it's from, they could be with the mother up until 7 or 8 years old, but then if the father takes over from 8 years onwards, it's actually massively beneficial to the son. So I always said there's nothing that he can actually go to you for outside of caregiving.
Sorry, just quickly. No, does that work the same with girls? If it was a daughter, does it work the same?
What, with the age?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'd say so, but then because you want to have that influence before they even go into secondary school, not before if it's by teenagers, too late. Teenage girls are. It's like this. I've lived with them. It's like this. It's very, very volatile. So you have to be a calm presence in those situations because it's PTSD.
How has race affected you and racism, and what kind of world do you see with regard to that for your son?
I think I've always been taught that race is the last frontier. And what I mean by that is that if there's an issue, you can't just jump to, it's because of my race. But a lot of people do. But if you work in a way where I give you an example. So I used to work somewhere and I used to be in a role and another guy used to be in a role, same role. Same, similar strengths or similar thing, and the role came up, an additional position came up and he went for the position. And if you look at all the things that are mirrored, the only difference between everything was the same on paper.
You both went for this new position.
So everything was the same, hard working, team building, whatever. Both exactly the same. Okay, so if it's not this, and it's not this, it's not this, it might be this. and you come to that lasting conclusion, which is what it should be, a lasting conclusion. But when it's like what I was saying before about class and money, people don't really see, when you get to a certain level or you're around certain people, and let's say you're financially well off or influential in some way, there is no racism. Yeah, it's like they say, well, the only colour is green, as the Americans say, right? So what I would say to my son is that I think my son will have a massive advantage, and I say that because I'll show you him after. My wife is Egyptian, I'm mixed race, so he's very fair, very, very fair. Okay. So I think that will work in his favour. I'm aware how like colorism does exist, but I think it's not to be defined by stereotypes of his race. That's what I would say, because I think when I was in school, I definitely think there was a lot of stereotypes, and you feel like you should fit into that stereotype. But that's not the wrong thing to do. But then that's also, kids trying to find themselves. So I understand why.
I'm going to ask you three more things, yeah?
Sure.
First one is, what are your thoughts on mental health? Do you have any, anything you want to share, or any advice for people, or any opinions?
I'd say the first thing I'd say is that women don't care about men's mental health at all. It's a farce. They don't. And it's fine, and they don't have to, but I think people are so...
What makes you say that, though? Why do you say... I know, but why do you say that?
Well, first of all, people are easily manipulated, and they think that... It's like I say about the... there's always a cause, isn't there? There's always a cause. There's always a month for everything. Yeah. So in that month, people think a corporation or someone, they think they believe in their cause. Yeah. They believe in whatever it may be, race, gender, sexuality, world politics. They think that company cares about them. They don't, bro. Let's keep it simple. They don't. So, but I think people are so easily manipulated by that. It's frustrating. So to talk about men's mental health specifically and why women don't care, there's no male body positivity.
True. Okay, look, if I'm obviously I'm not a woman, but as a woman, I'm sat here and I'm saying to you, but hang on, the reason why is because we've always lived in a patriarchy, and men have always had the upper hand. So you guys don't need anything. We need the positive affirmations, regardless of how we act or look.
It's a nice idea, but it's not reality. And reality is first of all, there's never, ever, ever in the history of the world been a successful matriarchy. So patriarchy seems to be working. Okay. That's one thing. Second thing is, people, I don't see gender, I don't see colour, I don't see anything like that. I judge people as they are, okay? But this is part of the issue. Yeah. If I'm judging you as a person, your argument, let's say, could be that and I disagree with you about something, or I think you're a dickhead, for example. You're behaving a dickhead. Yeah. People will jump to, you think he's a dickhead because of how he's behaved, it's because of, he's black, that's why you don't like him. And everyone is like that now. Everyone is like, the reason for not liking someone, which is ironic because people who fit into certain demographics, they fight for equality. They fight to be just treated for who they are, regardless of what they believe in, what they look like, etc. But ironically, if there's an issue, they never think it's because of, normal stuff, like a conflict of personalities. They think it's because of their identity, their gender, etc., which is stupid, because you're now going in circles. So I've always said, I always treat people, if someone treats me with respect, I always be respectful for them. And that's it. It's very simple. But I think if someone behaves a certain way, I'm not gonna disallow that. Why am I gonna? And now, I go on some of these podcasts and I'm saying things where people are behaving a certain way. Let's say, for example, women are behaving a certain way to me. I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. And I'll establish boundary. And it's like, well, you hate women because you're saying that. And I'm like, well, no, it's because of their behavior. If they behave like that. But the ironic thing is, they wouldn't behave like that as a man because there's always the underlying threat of violence. Yeah. But in this situation, she in this case, is behaving something that doesn't align with my boundaries, or she's being disrespectful. And so I would be distance myself from that person because of that person's behavior, not because she's a woman, because of that person's behavior. You know, I don't, like I said, I don't see gender. I just see the person and their actions.
Yeah. So, oh man,
I might have taken it was about men's mental health. Apologies. It was about men's mental health.
I know. It's just you got me thinking, and then I've lost the one of the things that I wanted to ask you. But anyway, what's your next future endeavors?
I'll come back to. I want to. I thought of something for the men's mental health. So the men's mental health thing. I think there's ranges of men's mental health, and I think it's not suitable to talk about it with women because they would give you a woman's solution to it.
Yeah.
So I'll just open up more, tell your partner how you're feeling all the time. But I've had conversations with women and they'll be like, yeah, it's cool once, but like, bro, now you're always whining. Why are you always crying, bro? Like, and this is people who love them, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that men's mental health should only be talked around within men's spaces, which there aren't many of. And I think they have to be dealt with by male solutions because sometimes women's solutions to it is, oh, he should just cry more. What?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, you was
Do you think, like generally speaking,
Of course.
every
Of course.
woman's different, you know?
Of course.
Do you think women in general, like, ask for something, you know, oh, why don't you cry, you know? But then if you do it, like, you've killed yourself, basically, to them. Like, you know, you've turned them off. Do you think they know what they're asking for with some of these things?
Respectfully, the women don't know what they want. Okay? You know, statistically, men know what they want more. They have a better read on what they want more and they're more realistic. Women don't know what they want. What they want, they say they want, and what they're attracted to are completely different things. So I just want a nice guy is what they say they want. But they get a nice guy, he's boring. He's boring. well, you know, he wasn't really thing. But then they're attracted to someone on paper is the worst possible option for them. But it's attraction. There's certain things there's a difference. There's a very big distinction between what's good for you, what's right for you, and what you're attracted to.
Yeah.
And it'll be something I'm telling my son. I'll be like, I had a thought the other day, and I thought, a lesson that I'm gonna teach my son is never, ever, ever, ever let a woman tell you what a real man is, including your mother. Don't let her tell you what a real man is. The only person who can tell you what a real man is another man. And ironically, men don't go around saying, that guy's a real man.
Yeah, true.
Because they see it, or they recognize it, or there's like an understanding.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. It's the same way that someone goes around,
Yeah.
I'm a queen. If you're a queen, you don't have to say you're a queen.
Facts. So yeah, future endeavors. Like any. What's your last message to the viewers? I hope some of your viewers get to see this as well because you got a lot of people, you know, watching your stuff. So
Getting triggered by my stuff, probably. Getting triggered. Yeah.
What's next up for you? Like, you know, in terms of the work that you're doing and stuff.
I'm in a direction at the minute where I'm not really in front of the screen with a focus, and I've started to do a little bit more of that. So usually I'd be interviewing an artist and it's about the artist, but I feel like at the minute I feel like merch, but I have some thoughts which I want to share, and I think if people are respectful in an environment, I'm willing to share them respectfully as well. So I have spent a lot more time getting my brand out there as more of a speaker and a personality, as you will. So be on obviously a lot more podcasts and stuff. I still doing my radio show, which is EXT Radio, and I did it on Saturdays. But I don't know. I just kind of want to expand. A weird thing happened when I was living in Malta, which was around 2020 time. I started taking in a lot more different type of content.
Were you living out there by yourself or with
my friend? So I didn't even go with my wife.
Okay.
She was my fiancée at the time. She stayed and I went, which is another reason why.
How long were you apart for?
About 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
But it's the train, you know what I mean? Like there's a focus, there's a plan.
Yeah.
You got to get on board with what the plan is, and if it'll benefit us, as long as it's not negative, it'll benefit us, right? So I went with my friend and stuff. Obviously, she come to visit and whatever, and it was during COVID and all this stuff. So yeah, so when I was over there, I was living with my friend. I started to take in a lot more different kind of content, and that's kind of influenced the topic I talk about. And it was almost like a light bulb went off in my head. There's stuff I kind of knew and understood a little bit, but then when I started seeing stuff from different viewpoints, like your Kevin Samuels, your Fresh and Fit, your Andrew Tate, I'm like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, and then sort of referenced it back to experiences in my own life. I'm like, oh, okay, and it kind of went like that. So, so it's kind of gone a lot into my podcast content in a minute, and I believe at a minute, I want to try and create men's spaces to talk about stuff. We have so many like women's spaces, and I think I'm trying to build a better community amongst men, especially now I'm a father. I think this is super important. I think that's the kind of direction I'm going in.
Last.
No, it's fine. I've got all the time, man. I've got all the time.
Don't attack me for this one, bro, yeah? But listen, realistically, are you and your wife gonna be together forever?
I hope so. I do hope so. But I'm aware there's stuff in marriage which you have to be aware of for it to work. I know people who obviously it hasn't worked and you thought they would. And you need to just stay on top of it, man. You need to stay on top of your game.
Are you loyal?
Yeah.
In the way that she would want you to be loyal. As in, because to me, I think, cheating is slightly different for the genders, I think.
I agree.
So are you physically loyal?
Of course, yeah. Because I've spent some time doing whatever I'm doing, being outside.
Yeah.
And I have cheated before, not my wife. I have cheated before in other relationships. But it's part, actually, the reason also, not the reason per se, but when I was living abroad and I was living there with my friend, I'm like, this is a perfect situation for me to do it. But in my mind, I'm like, if I can do this, especially with my history, I know I'm ready to get married.
Yeah.
So I had to do that for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think also it's just not. I don't know. It's just different. I think if we're going down that route, before, I used to operate differently when it came to dating. So I used to like to see different girls for different reasons.
Yeah.
So one might be physical, one might be more a vibe or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's like there wasn't someone who ticked every box as in one person.
Yeah.
But she ticked like all of the boxes in one person, and this is why. And I think people should. I'm not saying like I also but to be fair, like if we are talking about cheating, I don't think women will ever understand men cheating ever.
No.
Because they think it's like look.
They think of it from as if we think like and feel like them.
Yeah.
They think
even
about
Beyonce got cheated on.
Yeah.
Even Beyonce.
Yeah.
The Queen Bee who they love.
And it's not because he didn't love her.
No. It's not. It's variety.
It's a powerful thing that you just can't. I don't know. You're right. Yeah.
It's not. And even that guy, I can't remember the guy who's with the presenter, the blonde woman, and he was caught cheating. They'd been engaged for like 15 years or something. I know what that was about. She's on the radio. Vanessa Phelps.
Oh my God. I don't know what she's thinking.
What, breaking up with him?
Yeah.
Do you want to know my opinion?
That's ridiculous.
Do you know what I think it is? They've been together a long time, they've been engaged. I saw a clip where he was talking about that he gave up fatherhood for her because I don't think they have children. She's obviously very successful and he's successful in his own right, but I think he probably, I'm just speculating, resents her for the fact that he's given up fatherhood for her.
Yeah.
So she could be who she is.
Yeah.
And traditionally, it's usually the other way around. So I think that probably played a part in his mind. Also being engaged. He was engaged for 15 years. I've never heard that in my life. It's not as simple. And some things where he may not have... I don't date career women, right? So I don't know. But career women, for me, are a red flag. And that's not to take anything away from what they do.
Why is that?
Because... if you're a man who wants a future and a family, you can't get that with a career woman and it's a big risk. It's a big financial risk. And the reason why I say that is that if you are with someone now and she's a career woman and you make okay money, but she makes better money.
Yeah.
But she's always like, well, I'm going to work and I want to work and, you know, we've got plenty of money coming for me. That's fine. When a baby is put in her hands, her whole aspect, a whole like thing of life will change.
Yeah.
So she could be like, oh no, I want to stay here for my baby.
Yeah.
And now have to figure something out based on how she feels. Women are entitled to change their mind whenever they like.
Yeah.
And that's part of the issue. So I'm telling you, I've seen it. Like my wife's not a career woman as such, but when they put my son in her arms, that is like the purest form of love I've ever seen in my life. And you could, if I had to say to her, okay, we need to take him now and put him in a nursery and you have to go back to work, it would break her heart.
She'll probably kill you.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't think like that, but we have to think like that. So going back to the career woman thing, it's just that it's not beneficial for men who want a family and a future because, and I'm not saying, you know, the woman has to give up her career and be tied to the kitchen sink, barefoot and pregnant. No one's saying that, but I know everyone likes to jump to that conclusion. Yeah. We're not saying that, but it's just the fact that it becomes very problematic, and it's better just to avoid it completely if you can, because it just won't. And to be honest, the personality of career women is very repulsive, in my opinion.
For me, that last bit is the thing that I would have to say is true. Yeah, because to have a career and to, especially if it's a high-powered one, there's certain personalities, traits that you have to have in order to, you know, that go-getter. There's other things that surround that make it very difficult for you to be someone who's gonna just be agreeable and.
I like feminine women, and I'm a masculine man, so I like feminine women.
Those things are going to make it difficult for you to be feminine.
I think I'm not taking anything away from the achievement of what they're doing or their career. Yeah. I'm just saying it will be difficult when it comes to a relationship with a guy you want. This is important. Yeah. With a guy that you want. Yeah. You can still always find someone. I'm not disputing that. Yeah. Someone will have you. Yeah. Men aren't picky. Yeah. So someone will always have you, but will you want him? Yeah. Yeah. What did you do for Valentine's Day? Shit, I don't even know. What day was that? It was only 2 days ago. Tuesday. I had stuff to do, man. She was at her mum's with the boy, so... nothing really, nothing. Okay. I think I had a last day to myself. Cool. You know, treating myself, you know, because, you know, it's just... I don't need a woman to feel loved. Do you know what? Back in the day, Valentine's Day used to be huge, a big thing. It's not anymore. Why do you think that is? I think social media and the way it's affected the dating market is the reason why. There are less relationships and stuff like that. There's still sneaky links. There's more, there's sneaky links in dating and stuff, but I don't owe them a Valentine's. No, but you know what? You don't owe anyone anything if they're not your girlfriend or your wife. Yeah, but before there used to be more girlfriends and relationships. But now there's too many 3 or 4s. Now there's now everyone's just look. I don't want to come across as I'm hating women. I'm a misogynist. Misandry is actually a lot higher than misogynistics at the minute. But it's a reflection of society. I believe this is what I believe in my heart. Yeah. I believe that people, men, women, can do whatever they want. Whatever you want, whatever drives you, however you feel about that, you do you. Like I say, I'm a feminist and an ally. So I say that to say that's fine, but understand this. That comes with consequences, whatever you're doing, and you are going to have to deal with them consequences. And if someone doesn't want to deal with your consequences of your actions, you can't then shame them. Yeah. For example, I can give you a male and female perspective. Go on. A female perspective, if you're an OnlyFans model and you want to show things for $3.99, do you, man? It's your body. I don't police women's bodies at all. Yeah. Do you? However, that's cool when you're 21. When you're 31 and you want a family and that, or you have a family and your son's friends are showing around that they can see their mum on there, that's going to cause you problems, right? And you're going to probably wish you never done it. Shout out Amber Rose. Oh, fucking... Shout out Kim K. Well, they're the reflections now. That's in real time. Yeah. Same way as if a guy is, you know, he's on the roads and he's a drug dealer, You know, you've got money, but then you could lose your money, you could go to jail, take all your life is gone now, that's a consequence of your action.
Nothing to fall back on.
All those things. So it's fine, it works in both ways. It's just different scenarios, but essentially, you know, fast money, slow problems kind of touch.
But the difference is a man will accept those circumstances and those, you know, those consequences. A man will accept those.
You know why that
Women
is?
will attack you for even saying it.
But it's because we have to, because reality punishes us if not. Because I know I have someone in my mind I'm thinking of right now, and his life isn't 100% all good, let's say. And the women who are reflected, who are talking about this, they're like, "Whoa, he's a big man. Like, he's not getting sympathy for me."
Yeah.
But a woman will be enabled for her bad choices,
Yeah.
and that's why I say you should never, you know, become a stepdad and all these other things. It's a different conversation, but that's because we do coddle women and they are the predicted sex. We should look after them. I'm not saying that no one loves women more than me, I can assure you. You know what I mean? Like I say, I'm a feminist. I believe they should have whatever they want all the time. But within reasons, of course. But it's not right, and it enables bad behavior and it makes it a lot worse. So I'm sure we've seen things on podcasts or interactions, even what I was speaking to you about earlier today. After that situation occurred, one of the other girls was like, "Oh, well, you know, he should apologize for her." I go, "No, he shouldn't apologize to her because he'd be enabling her bad behavior. The same way you expect him to be respectful of her feelings, she has to be respectful of his boundaries." And we live in a world now where some women think they can behave wild, and guys are supposed to, and when guys reinforce a boundary, not physically, just saying, "Yo, don't do that," or "Don't say that to me." They feel, "Oh, why are you getting upset? Why are you getting upset for? Oh, it's not that deep." It is that deep. To me, you can think that, but it's deep to me, so I don't do that, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? But and I tell my sisters this all the time. You should never put hands on a man ever, because men aren't supposed to hit women. Most men know that, but do you want to find out the guy who doesn't know that?
True.
Do you want it, you know, is that going to be the guy who doesn't know that it's not okay to box someone in the face if a girl boxes him in the face, you know? So, or slaps him or whatever, or puts the finger in their forehead. Oh, man, that's a good way to lose a finger, man. Jesus, oh, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine your finger going to be gone? That's crazy, but yeah.
Man, thank you for the insights. Thank you for the convo, man.
It's all right, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for coming down. Yeah, big up.
Yeah, follow me on YourHostRob, I guess. Yeah,
we're gonna put everything in the description. Cool. Yeah, everything. Cool. So yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Love, bro.